What's up, everybody? I'm back, man. You guys already know this is a fitness channel with the twist. If you want to get started in your fitness journey, hit me up. It's High Power Fitness, high_power_fitness_, or you could email me at highpowerfitness@yahoo.com. I mean, the proof is in the pudding, people. You know what I'm saying? I'm over a half a century old. If I could do it, you could do it. There's no excuses, people, and I have a blueprint to success, guaranteed to work. 3-month program, you will see results, and with these results, they're sustainable. Okay. Today's twist, I'm gonna elaborate on Mr. Slugs. We had our differences in the back, and he is who he is, and I am who I am. Okay. For whatever reason, he chose to go that other route where he thought the grass was greener. That's on him and whoever he crossed, whether he crossed people or not. You know what I mean? Who knows? Only he knows. But anyway, so like I said, if you want to get started in your fitness journey, hit me up. It's High Power Fitness, high_power_fitness_, or email me at highpowerfitness@yahoo.com. Okay. Guaranteed with the 3-month program, people, you can lose up to 30 pounds of fat and build muscle at the same time. On my program, I will put together you daily workouts that I will track on my personalized training app. I will dial in your nutrition, and obviously we're going to have to hop on the phone to go over your fitness goals to see how far you want to take your fitness journey. No matter how far you want to take it in life, I will help you time collapse it. I've did it myself. The proof is in the pudding. I run the same blueprint. It's guaranteed to work, people. And if you reach out and you're serious and you mention that you've seen it on this video, I will throw you in a discount, a 20% discount. Now, let's get straight to the twist here, man, because this is a hot topic. I believe it's going to go viral. Keep in mind here, people, let's get it straight. Let's not get it twisted, and let's not get it fucked up, okay? I'm not here to support or back anybody, because what is right, and what is wrong, people, okay? I have a child who suffers with autism, okay? So that's just to bring you to where I need to speak on today, because we all know Mr. Gunner's Collective, right? He's always told them super norteño stories about his primo Ricky and his prima Sheila. Okay, I've always said in the past, I knew he threw extra salsa on the taco. Come on, my God. I mean, it's common sense where he grew up at. Was it really that much motion going on right there? And I'm not saying it in a disrespectful way towards anybody that resides out there, because I really don't know. Who knows? Maybe it might be as active and as crazy as that. But I live where it's jumping off. You know what I mean? And every day isn't like I couldn't tell you a story every day like that. But at the end of the day, the individual is a content creator, and I've said it in the past because someone had asked me, "Hey, OG, do you think them stories are real?" I said, yeah, they're real to a certain extent. You know what I'm saying? But he puts a little extra salsa on the taco because that's what his audience wants to hear. Once again, as a reminder, I'm not defending him because I feel a certain type of way. Why? Because I have a son that has autism. Okay, so I know what it's like, you know, to live with somebody that you love who suffers with the disease, or I shouldn't even say a disease, a mental health condition that, you know, he didn't ask for, you know. And that's to bring me to Mr. Slugs, man. Like I said, we've never really seen eye to eye. I mean, I've seen his content in the past, and I was interested. But then I seen a certain type of way from him, and, you know, instead of speaking on him, I just, you know, tuned out of it. I just decided to go my own way and not listen to him. You know what I mean? And then obviously I found out that he's no good. You know what I'm saying? That's none of my business. And that's the same thing like with Dubs. There's paperwork on Dubs. That's none of my business. I backed off a lot of people, as you guys can know. You trollos and funny bunnies out there, and the mashicas out here in the motherfucking YouTube yada can speculate all you want. I'm not in anybody's chats no more. I ain't doing that. You know what I mean? Because too much shit has surfaced, and so many people weren't honest. I mean, they don't have to, because I'm nobody. But, you know, just out of respect as an individual that wants to support an individual, and you know that individual's in good standing, such as myself, I think that that individual deserves a little insight on what's really going on with you. You know what I mean? Don't ignore the fact. It is what it is. You know, it's no big deal to me. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, he didn't do anything to me. So when he comes across the persons that he crosses paths with, he has to deal with it. You know what I mean? And I've said where I stand in this whole situation as well, which any Southsider would. If we're behind them walls and cross paths, obviously we got to do what is expected of us. For those of you that don't understand that, it's protocol, people. It's not something that we adhere to out here in the streets. Out here in the real world is where everything counts. You know what I mean? Pulling up day in, day out, not missing, providing for your family. That's a real man, okay? I'm not saying that the people behind the walls aren't, because they are. They, you know, they with the business. But the real ones are still stuck there. The real ones that get that opportunity to come out here, they go on a quick mission and they're right back. They're back to home base, because when they come out here, they're just a visitor. See, that's where a lot of you civilians and people from outside of other states and all that fail to understand, okay? It gets really political, people. There's going to be differences, and always there's going to be people that disagree to disagree. You know, and disagree to agree, and they're never going to see eye to eye. It is what it is. And yes, I ramble on a whole lot. Now, with that being said, Slugs interviewed an individual that I can't co-sign it, but I could tell you one thing from the fingernail that I seen of Sheila, and that's them. That's them. I mean, you got to really think about it. People, I know people are going to go to the defense, and, you know, hey, those are your loyal supporters. You know, I'm not here to defend anybody. But like I said, there's two sides to this story. You know what I mean? The individual that was being utilized as a character in the Super Norteños didn't fit the description of the individual that I seen, other than that you could tell he's special needs. And it almost seemed like his wife was special needs too. Now, she, with all due respect, she did fit the description of being like a hillbilly, the way Gunner would say that. So, in my eyes and my personal beliefs, I believe those were the real characters. You know, for Slugs to go and fabricate somebody like that out of nowhere, especially knowing that he resides in Mexico. Come on, let's do the math here, people. You know what I mean? And like I said, I'm not here to bash nobody, this and that. I don't have a dog in this fight. But, you know, what is right, what is wrong. Now, for this to be going on for 3 years, and an individual not to know that them stories were about him, there's a chance maybe he didn't know. But it's kind of like hard, but then you got to figure he suffers with mental health, and it looks like his wife does too as well. And I can see she's turns out like she's a good woman, because she was there to defend him and speak for him, you know, because obviously old boy couldn't really speak for himself. It's just obvious, for obvious reasons, you know what I mean? There's that slight doubt that he didn't know what was going on. Now, there's something that I do believe, you know, the way he's portrayed the man, I forgot her name. I just know her by Sheila. You know what I mean? Because that's a name that Gunner gave to her. You know, I got primos and primas that live in other states, and yeah, they're my primos and primas, but I don't really even know their name. You know what I mean? I'll be calling them the wrong name, so I could see the truth about that too. You know, what is going to happen in the future with Gunner? I could say now. You know what I mean? The immediate surroundings of people that believe the way we believe, the same thoughts, we have the same morals and all that, more than likely they're going to back away. Or they might just accept it as it was entertainment. You know, but to do something without an individual's permission, that's a cold-blooded move. But at the end of the day, the only ones that know if it was done that way are them. And that's real talk. And once again, let me remind you guys, I'm not here supporting anybody. I'm not here to back up anybody, because that boy, he got a mouth for himself to speak. And from what I've seen, he's real quick to speak up. You know, I'm curious what's going to go on. You know what I mean? I'm really curious what's going to go on, and I hope to see this guy Pepe, the one that they said that they based Pepe on. Yeah, you know, it's a fucked up situation. I tell you that right now. But like I said, at the end of the day, what is right is right, and what is wrong. You know, I tune in all the time to listen to the story because I know it wasn't real. You know what I mean? That characters portrayed somebody, that's my belief, that portrayed somebody in his family. But where I don't understand is he used the real identity of his primo, but not her. So it made me think, well, maybe he really didn't know her. You know what I mean? Maybe he only knew her through phone calls. Who knows at the end of the day? That man is going to have to live with what he did. And who knows? There may be repercussions behind it. There may not be. You know what I mean? Because a whole lot of people do a whole lot of this and they ain't going to bust a grape. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so Slugs' interview was excellent, man. I had to give that guy flowers. And look, and I understand Slugs is an S&Y person. So no, don't think I'm supporting an S&Y. I'm supporting what was brought to surface, because that is very wrong of an individual to abuse anyone, whether you're related to them or not, especially when they're suffering with a mental illness. That's fucking absolutely wrong, okay? I'm being attacked by a fly or bee, something. But anyways, so like I said, man, at the end of the day, there's three sides of the story. There's their side, there's his side, and then there's the real side. You know, these super norteños have been going on for, you know, my goodness, for, you know, what, 3 years, over 3 years, and it's just now brought to your attention. You just never know. There's so many different scenarios behind this. Maybe the money got funny, you know what I mean? It's kind of like when I tell certain individuals, hey, my money's funny, my change is strange, and my pockets are laughing at one another. I wish I would have never used that term right here, because now everybody's going to pick it up and use it out here on social media and try to claim it. That's something that I've been using for years, since I was a kid. But anyways, I believe that there's that possibility. That old boy was getting broke off, and the stories had just got too harsh and too how would you say, disrespectful. You know, a person can only tolerate so much, and I say that with the most accurate, how should I say, the most accurate beliefs. Why? Because, like I said, I have a son that suffers with autism. You know, I'm human, my wife's human. You know, sometimes certain things go on and they trigger my son. You know what I mean? So who knows? Maybe this is a reaction from Ricky. He finally got fed up and tired of it. You know what I mean? What was going on here on social media. You know, so only they know. But once again, I'm here to fucking Slugs. I have to give him his flowers, man. You know what I mean? Yes, I understand he's S&Y, and I will never, ever cross paths with Slugs. You know, if he did someone wrong to get to that other side, that's on him and the person he did wrong. Who knows? Maybe he just rolled it up, got scared, feared for his life, and went straight from the gate and rang that bell. There's a lot of individuals that I was riding along on the Grey Goose with. They went and did that. Who does tell you, hey, if you go over here, GP, or if you feel for your life, go ring that bell. And to me, that was to make a mockery of them. Like the walk of shame, because they would have to go ring that bell. That was their pass to get into that yard. At the end of the day, like I said, I have no idea how Slugs end up over there. It's none of my business. I really don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? It is what it is, you know. We're not going to be breaking bread, you know what I mean? I don't know what he went over there for. And I will never look into his background. Like I said, it doesn't affect my daily life. You know what I mean? That's the same thing like with dubs and all that. I'm not going to look into that shit, man. Could you imagine if I started checking motherfuckers' paperwork, man? I would, Jesus Christ. If any of you guys would start checking paperwork, your fucking would get your mind blown on motherfuckers that have paperwork on them, the ones that you least expect. Straight up. I just call it how I see it, baby. You know what I mean? Why? Because I've done time behind them walls. The person that you least expect are the motherfuckers that you got to watch out for, especially the ones that are related to individuals. You know what I mean? For some reason, they get a little, sometimes leniency from other homies, so, you know, so to speak. But anyways, people, with that being said, man, I'm going to bring this video to an end. Let's see what happens in the near future. I'm hoping to see the Pepe one as well. I'm actually going to have to subscribe to this guy. That way I get the notification. The only reason why I was notified of this is because I heard Bam Bam speaking on it. Mr. Bam Bam. You know who I'm talking about. Hey, I'm gonna do another video on Mr. Bam Bam. Hey, he's going off on this individual, so I gotta speak my mind about that as well too. But anyways, people, with that being said, if you want to get started in your fitness journey, hit me up. It's High Power Fitness, high_power_fitness_, or you could email me at highpowerfitness@yahoo.com. I mean, look, gente. I mean, the proof is in the pudding, people. I'm over half a century old. You could do it. There's no excuses why you cannot get results. You don't have to get swole. Just start working on your overall health. It's important to get healthy before you lose weight, not lose weight and then get healthy. That's what that magic pill is for. That's why you got a lot of people that lost their lives behind that. 386 confirmed deaths. Okay? Now get up and get yours. Let's do this.